During the Second World War, one of the greatest military clashes to take place was between these two mighty tanks, the American Sherman and the German Tiger. These two monsters went head-to-head in the D-Day landings in some of the most brutal battles the world had ever seen. Only one tank could be the winner. Which would it be? On June 6, 1944, the Americans, British, and their allies launched the D-Day landings on the northern coast of France. They fought bravely together against the common German enemy. The Allies' objective, to gain a precious foothold into Nazi-occupied Europe. With the coast secured, more hard work lay ahead. Allied forces, led by Sherman tanks, would still have to punch their way through German defenses in France, Belgium, and Holland on their way to Berlin. But around every corner, in every orchard, and in every hedgerow, the terrifying Tiger tank was lying in wait, aiming to stop the Allied forces in their tracks. The German Tiger was a landmark in Nazi military hardware. It was first unveiled on Hitler's 53rd birthday in 1942, and on the Führer's directive, it was to be bigger, heavier, and more deadly than any tank ever made. The German Tiger weighed 56 tons, and at the time was equipped with the largest gun to be fitted to a mass-produced tank. With its sheer size and devastating firepower, it soon took on a mythical status among enemy Allied crews.
I looked upon it as something indestructible, and if it was everywhere you went, you passed a wood on your flank, say 1,000 yards away, you'd wonder what was lurking in there.
The fact was, it was a Tiger which was dominant in crews' minds. I'm sure people saw Tigers when they were there.
If he sees you, you haven't got a chance, have you? If you see him, you still haven't got a chance.
Because of the legends surrounding this beast of a tank, Allied crews soon came to fear its ominous angular shape and looked for it everywhere.
On this one occasion, we saw a square shape in the orchard, and we said automatically, that may be a tiger. Let's not beat about the bush. Fire. And I fired. Very good first shot. And there was a huge explosion of splinters, and we realized we'd shot up one of the farmers' outside toilets.
At the same time, the Americans had been working on a design of their own. The Army needed a versatile tank, which would ultimately lead the Allied assault in the planned D-Day landings. It was a vast improvement on Allied tanks that previously had been built. It was called the M4, or as crews came to know it, the Sherman.
My first impression of the Sherman, I thought was brilliant because the maneuverability of it, and as a driver, it had such a wonderful compartment, controls were good, and I honestly, my first impression, I couldn't fault the Sherman, really. I was very impressed with it.
The Sherman quickly became the tank chosen for mass production and used by all Allied forces, the Americans, Canadians, British, and eventually, even the Russians. And when on June 6, 1944, the Allies needed a tank for the D-Day landings, there was nothing better. The Sherman, trusted by crews and infantry alike. That was until it came into contact with the German Tiger.
Of course, we didn't know then what the Germans had, really.
No, but I was going to say, I don't think then I knew anything about tigers.
Well, no,
at that stage.
They didn't tell us much about the tiger.
No, they didn't, until we saw this tiger which had been captured. And it had 20 to 25 shell marks on it, where it hadn't penetrated. And then, of course, when you saw other tanks, other Shermans burn in front of you. You know, sort of not your competence about it.
And I used to count the graves, because they were often then just buried behind the tank or somewhere. And you'd see 2, 3, 5, and if it was a 5, of course, they'd all gone. And that's really when my confidence began to slip a bit.
Was the Allied Sherman inferior to the Tiger? And did the Tiger's prowess really live up to its fearsome reputation?